the Neon Confidential podcast.
Is this thing on? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Maxx Crosby to the Neon Confidential podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much for coming in.
I appreciate it.
Okay, so how was the UFC fight? Because we both went to fight night on Saturday.
Yeah.
And I knew you were there because they showed you on the Jumbotron. And right as Trump is like walking past.
Yeah.
So what was that like for you?
It was wild. I met him before, just being with Dana. Dana is a really good friend of mine.
So I didn't know that.
Yeah. We've been tapped in for a while, but we've gotten closer over the years. And Trump, I met him in Miami when he was out there, and so I seen him again, and it was crazy. The whole environment was wild.
How did you and Dana White become friends?
So I've been a UFC fan since like day one. So I've just been a fan from a distance, and literally when I got drafted to the Raiders, I knew we were coming to Vegas, and I'm like, I'm not missing a fight. I'm gonna go to all the fights I can.
And do you go to all the fights?
I try my best to.
Have you seen the slap stuff that he's doing,
yeah.
power slap?
I've been at all those too. Yeah, I've been to all the
The first time you see that in
yeah.
person, it's like just hearing that like smack is like very wild. It's a very wild experience.
It's crazy. It's crazy, but it's entertaining. But yeah, Dana's like, me and him got real close, and then just being around him, you meet a ton of different people, and it's a blessing. He's a really good dude.
Cool. So I want to talk about, because I feel like, you can look up a lot of information about you. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, just a little bit.
But there's not a lot of stuff on like your background. So the first time, and like just to tell kind of our audience, the first time that you and I met, we were at the Flanker Grand Opening.
Yep.
And we had to have you hold a cheeseburger. Okay.
Yeah.
You remember this?
Yes, very vividly.
And you're holding this cheeseburger, and there's all these like photographers that are taking your picture, and there's a crowd that's around and everything. And I think I said, can you take a bite out of it? And you said,
Yeah.
It's not Saturday. And it was like, in fact, Friday. And I'm like, what? And you're like, it's not my cheat day. And so at that moment, I was like, this dude is so disciplined. Like, because even just like one bite of a cheeseburger, I'm like that, like that discipline, that drive, I feel like you can't, people can aspire to be that way, but it takes like being that person from the very beginning. So would you say that you've always been a disciplined person? Like, how did you grow up? Let's go all the way back to the beginning.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I've really had to learn how to be disciplined. I got an obsessive personality in general. But I've been I've talked about publicly, I've been sober completely for over 3 years, and I have a very, obsessive, addictive personality. So like when it comes to good things or bad, like in the past, I had a lot of things like drinking and smoking and doing all that. And like once I can't just have one beer, it was always, above and beyond. And so for now, like these past 3 years, I've really tapped into my addiction on a positive level. So I, when it comes to training and eating, like doing everything the right way, like I'm using it for a positive. So like something as small as that, you're making fun of me and we're laughing, but like literally one bite out of a burger, I want to smash some food after that. You know what I mean? So like I'm religious about like being on point and being, sticking to what I do, because that's, my brain works one way. Like I'm either all the way in or all the way out. So I took my, my nutrition, my training, everything, I take it so serious, but that's where I've gotten because, I'm obsessive about it. In just 3 years, like I changed my whole life, and I'm 25 years old, and like I have so much more stuff I want to accomplish. So that's why, I've gotten paid, I've gotten, I've had success and things like that, but that's not my goal. Like I have so many bigger goals that I want to achieve, and, I have to stay dialed in no matter what.
So you stopped drinking when you were 22?
I think I was 21 actually. Yeah.
And so did you feel like, if you have that addictive personality, did you feel like it was like an issue, or were you just, because of your athleticism and your sport, you like recognized it quick? Was there some sort of like rehab involved, or you were like, you know what, this isn't working, I'm gonna cut it off?
Yeah, no, I had to do the whole deal. I went rehab, sober living, all that.
What caused that? Was there like a big wake up call that you were, or did you have like your friends and family were recognizing it?
Yeah, honestly, it was just like, it was me, like literally waking up, like feeling terrible, look myself in the mirror. I'm like, this is just not gonna work. You know what I mean? I can't keep doing this. And yeah, I hit up everybody close to me. I'm like, listen, I need help. And it was the best decision I ever made, you know, going out to rehab. Went to LA, did my rehab there in Hollywood. And then I moved to like a sober living for a few months. And yeah, I just dialed in.
I mean, it's really aspirational, because at that point, and like you and I didn't know each other, but like I also just decided to stop drinking.
Yeah.
And it was just, again, there was no like smoking gun thing that happened. It's just that like alcohol is so accessible and is such a part of like our social identity. It's like how everyone kind of comes together to congregate and like hang out. There's always alcohol involved, especially here in Vegas.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was like one day I woke up and I was like, you know, I'm just really tired of being hungover. And what's crazy is there's science out there now, like it's available. Like there's, you know, podcasts and people that talk about this, where alcohol is not good for you at all. They're even saying that like how they said there was like a health benefit to drinking like wine.
Yeah.
You know, it's good for your heart health or something. They've like axed that out too. So it's kind of one of those situations where same thing with cigarettes, right? They used to be in like ads, like people like smoking, and that's how you like looked cool. And they're like, cigarettes are bad for you. So that stopped. But now it's like, do you listen to Doc Amen at all?
I've heard of him. Yeah, I've seen a couple of.
He's done like hundreds of thousands of brain scans, and he's like saying alcohol is bad for you. So for me, it's like if I'm ingesting this knowledge, like I feel like it's just pure stupidity to continue like poisoning your brain. You know, it's like, especially for you guys, you have to be so dialed in with the work that you do that it's not good. It's just any amount of it's detrimental. But there's not a lot of athletes that abstain, so I think that's really inspirational.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah. And you're 100% true, like 100% right about that. Like it's not easy, like to not drink and do all that. Like I'm not gonna sit here and be like, yeah, life is super easy. It's like, yep, I just put it down and it is what it is. But like I have such a great team around me, and I have a routine, just like my football routine, my training, my eating. Like I gotta have everything dialed in, and like for me, that's my personality. That's how I operate. Like I'm either all the way in or all the way out. And so I know it takes a lot of my, you know, a lot of my energy, a lot of my time to do it the right way. But I know what it does for me in the long run. And I have goals that are not normal to most people, but like I'm chasing that every single day. So I can't just do what everybody else does. I can't just go out and go drink and then try to operate and be good the next day. It's like, I'm not taking those steps back like I used to in college. Like I was a good player in college, I was a good player in high school, but I wasn't the level that I wanted to be. And like now I've gone, you know, as a player, I've taken my game to a whole nother level, and just 3 years of doing it like on point, everything right. Like, and that's what's, you know, pushing me to even do it harder and do better. And like this off season I've done, you know, how can I find that little 1% I can get better at? And I'm just seeing the goals. Like I'm PRing and everything in the weight room again. And like, most of the guys are in their 5th year, like trying to just maintain and do it. It's like, no, like I'm hitting new things and running with DBs, like the smallest dudes, fastest dudes on the team. I'm running with them, challenging myself.
Wow.
And that's just what I try to do. Like I really like.
You're running with the smallest dudes on the team. Yeah. Can you say like your height and weight for everyone that is listening?
Yeah. No, I'm 6'5", 260. So like you see my big ass running like a deer, 100 miles an hour, but I'm really up there in the front, like. But I'm not, you know, it's not to brag or whatever, but it's like for me, like I need that challenge. Like every single year I try to find something different I can challenge myself with. And like even with boxing, like I box all the time now.
It's such a good workout.
Yeah, it's incredible. And like that's something I do. Like I went in with a UFC fighter, Sean Strickland, who's a top 5 middleweight, and we legit sparred each other, and he was cracking me and I'm cracking him. But like put myself in situations where I'm not comfortable, and I'm doing that on a daily basis. And it just, you know, that's why on game day it's like I'm at peace, because now I have nothing hold me back in practice. I can't go and lay people out. Like it's like, okay, now I'm ready to go. I don't have any restrictions. I can just go be me.
And so you're like showing up as your best self consistently, like every single time.
Yeah, it's the best feeling.
And so you're one of the best defensive end players in the league. And so what are your goals? Like right now, if you're like saying you're progressively every single year you're getting better, like what is your goal for this next year, this next season that's coming up?
Yeah, you know, for me, I kind of go off themes. Like every single year I have a theme for the off season of what I want to accomplish. And I'd never put a number on anything. Like I want this many tackles, this many sacks. But for me,
why is that? Because you think you're going to like jinx it, or?
Well, because I really don't think success is measured off of numbers. You know, there's a lot of guys that have great numbers, but they're not complete players. Like they can sack the quarterback, but they can't stop the run. And I'm probably talking.
No.
A little,
Come on.
a little too much.
I was a cheerleader.
Somewhat
we
what I'm
had
talking
totally.
about.
We had to like memorize like our cheers for like based on what was happening on the field.
Yeah, no.
Hold that line, D.
Yeah, exactly. But, in the most simple form, like, I never want to put a number on it. I want to be the best complete player I can be and most disruptive player I could be. So
I'm with you. Like, I feel like overall that you should be the most well-rounded you could possibly be because it's only going to make you better and like your position.
Yeah.
But do you think that like, how does that work? Are there some players that are like, no, I don't want to be well-rounded. I just want to be good at this.
I don't think it's necessarily that. Like, they don't want to be the best version of themselves. But at the end of the day, like, there's a very small group of dudes that are elite, at what they do from every position. And for me, like, I'm in the conversation of, all right, there's 5, 6 guys, like, these are the best. And that's where I want to be. But now it's like, how can I take that next step? And, for those guys, like, that talk about it, there's a lot of guys that talk about it. It's in business, it's in anything. Like, you can say, yeah, I want to be a millionaire, I want to do this and all that. But if you're not doing it consistent, like, on a daily basis, you're not going to get it. And, like, I've been on both sides. Like, early in my career, when I was young and I was still partying and doing that shit, like, I wasn't the best version of myself. I believed in my head, like, yeah, I want to be the best, but I was still going out and bullshitting and then hung over on Monday. And it's like, doing that, I'm taking steps back, and I was never able to fully reach my potential. And like, I still haven't reached my full potential, but like, I know what I'm doing is working. And like, not everybody's like that. Not everybody thinks that way. Like, you got to really put the work in, and it's really hard to do it every single day. Like, guys can do it for a month, 3 months, whatever. But like, if you do it for years, you do it 3, 5, 7, 10 years, like, then you look back and you're accomplishing all these goals, and they don't seem like, it's not like, oh my God, I'm doing it. It's like, no, it's just happening because that's what I do. That's what I am. You just live it every single day.
And you're like, it's long term. Like, there's so many people who are will give up a long-term goal for like making something happen in the short term, which is like how alcohol and everything ties into that.
Yeah.
So that's great. Like, like I said, when I first met you, I could tell you were just like dialed in on a different level, because anybody else would have been like, well, I'm here and there's people taking pictures of me. I'm just going to have one bite. Yeah. And the fact that you're like, no. I was like, damn, like, but I respected it though, even though, we got to get you back into Flanker and actually eat one of the burgers that you were holding.
Saturday nights. Yeah.
Saturday's cheat day. Yeah. So how did you get into football? I've seen some of your stuff that you post on Instagram, and you play basketball as well. So like, how did you like get into sports? How did that happen?
So my dad, he played football and basketball as a kid. That's something that I fell in love with since day one. Everybody has their own passions and what they love. Like, from day one, I was obsessed with sports. So I started playing basketball in first grade because that was the first year they allowed me to play. And then second grade was the first year I was allowed to play tackle. So I've been playing football since second grade. And
were you always like a big person? I'm like, I guess you can't say a big man when you're like in first grade. But were you taller than everybody else in your grade levels?
No,
no way.
A late bloomer. Like, I was a short, chubby, like, kid.
No.
I swear to God, all the way up until like my junior year in high school. Like, even in my senior year of high school, I was like a big baby. Like, I didn't grow into my body until like late. Like, I was still growing, and like, I feel like still hitting puberty like when I was early in the NFL. I didn't even have a beard in college. I looked like a different human.
Like, you could not grow a beard in college?
Couldn't grow a beard, nothing. No.
This is
like if you see me, I swear to God, if you see me when I was 18, you'll be like, that I don't know who that is.
So basically,
don't pull up a picture, please.
I mean, I'm gonna now. Like, when I'm like, actually pull this clip for the podcast, guys, and then we'll like
it's over with.
Okay, so you just blossomed around like 19 or 20? Like, was it like one of the things where like, like the movies, the girls go away to like summer camp and they come back and they like grew boobs? Like, was that for you? Like, you just showed up and they're like, what happened to you? Like,
100%. It was like, I grew like 3 to 4 inches going into my last year of high school. So I was literally like, my body hurt, my knees hurt. Like,
ask that, does it hurt your joints?
I was messed up. So like my senior year, like, I was a shell of myself, but I had potential. Like, I was skilled, I was big, but I really didn't know like what I was doing. Like, my body, I was just trying to learn my body and like grow into it.
This is so
it took
wild.
A long time. Yeah. So like, I didn't get recruited. I had one offer out of college, or out of high school. Like, Eastern Michigan was my only offer. I was a 4th round pick. Like, I really had to like earn everything I've gotten. So like, that's what makes me like appreciate everything I have because I had to earn it.
So, and we've like touched on this before. Like, I've always been short, so I don't really know what you're talking about. Like, that sounds wild to me. That someone has to like relearn their body. It's like a Freaky Friday thing, you know?
Yeah.
But is everyone in your family tall? Like, did your parents know that was going to happen? Like, for instance, this is actually a very like funny story, but since we're going to put a picture of you when you're 18, I'll tell an embarrassing story for myself. Yeah. So I went to the doctor like for a physical when I was in like 5th grade, and they said because my feet were so big that I was going to be taller.
7 feet tall.
But instead, like, I just have big feet and I stayed short.
Yeah. No, I think everybody's different though. Like,
but it really did help with like, you know, beam and everything. Because my feet are more like long, so I could like, I feel like I had more like grip or more traction, but I also was very short, so I could like whip around faster and stuff.
yeah. Wow.
So we talked about that, where it's like a chicken or the egg concept. Like, did you become good at sports because of like your build, or do you think that like you were always good at sports and then you just shot up and like you said you had to like adjust and you just kept that athletic ability?
That's a good question. Honestly, yeah, I feel like it helped when I was less athletic. Like, I had to have skill. Like, even in basketball and football, like, I always had like natural like skill when it came to, even like as a bigger kid, like I was a chunkier kid, but I knew how to dribble and shoot the ball. And like when I played football when I was younger, I wasn't the fastest kid, but like I knew what to do with the ball in my hand. So like there was different things that I was better at, but I always, you know, I feel like helped me the most was like playing all the sports. Like, I played basketball first and I played football. I tried baseball. I did a little wrestling. Like, now I still like box. Like, I try to do as much as I possibly can because I feel like that's what, you know, a lot of kids nowadays, like, you'll see dads like try to live through their sons and, oh, okay, you're only playing baseball, you're only playing football. And like the kids like end up hating the sport because they're just, that's all they know, and they get burnt out. Like, for me, my dad never forced me to play a sport. He was just like, play whatever you want. Like, I love football. Like, for me, I never was told, like, I wanted to play when I was in 1st grade, but they wouldn't allow me. I just love football. So like, I feel like you just got to let your kids figure out what they like and like just go from there.
So football is your favorite sport?
Oh yeah, for sure. Basketball's close, but football is the best.
Okay.
Sure.
And so let's talk about your legends. And this will also tie into your new ink that you just got. Who are your athletic heroes growing up that you looked up to?
Yeah. Honestly, you know, you talk about the tattoos, I'll start there. I didn't grow up, you know, being a huge Kobe fan or a huge Jordan fan. I kind of, once I got, you know, honestly, it was a few years ago. Like, once I really started tapping into like, I'm going to be the best at what I do. Like, I started studying the greatest athletes of all time. So Jordan, Kobe, Ali, the Mike Tysons, the guys like that really did it different than everybody else. That's kind of, you know, what I try to tap into is like, all right, I'm gonna study these guys, like literally watch from start to finish, no matter what it is, interviews and everything. So that's what kind of, you know, inspired me to be different than everybody and like not be uncomfortable being different. Like, I don't carry myself like everybody else. Like, when I'm on the field, like, I'm in a whole different space. Like, I'm chill, laid back when I'm at the house and doing whatever, but like when I'm in the zone, like I'm training football, like I'm a different person.
Describe that switch. You have to hype yourself up before you get out on the field, or is it like as soon as you step on, you just become?
Honestly, like, especially on the field, like, I'm super competitive. So like, no matter what it is, I could be playing video games, or it could be the most simple thing. I'm trying to win. I don't care if I'm going against kids or whatever. Like, I'll do kids camps and I'm out there catching balls, catching touchdowns and doing whatever. But like, I can't, like, it's almost like when I was younger, it was to a fault. Like, if I would lose, like, I was a sore loser. Like, I would want to fight if I lost. And like, my brother I have an older brother, and so I was always around his friends and competing against them. And they would beat me, or like, my brother was always bullying, like, beat me up in sports, and I would get so mad, but I would fight back all the time. And I wasn't big or anything like that at that time, but I was so competitive, and that's something I was just born with. Like, I literally am so competitive in every way.
Well, and that's like a built-in training camp too. If you have like an older sibling and you're trying to keep up with all of them too, it's almost like that already gives you a leg up.
Yeah, it was tough. Like, my brother was super hard on me. I still, you know, mess with him about it to this day, but like, I appreciate it now because like, that's something I feel like as far as like being tough, like, in dealing with real like adversity and like going through, like, I've been through a lot. Like, my brother was hard on me and always made it difficult, but like, I appreciate it now because like I'm not scared of anything. Like I love challenging myself and being in like uncharted waters. Like I love that. Like I live for it. And like the biggest games and things like that, when it's supposed to be the hardest and most pressure, like I'm at my absolute peace.
Do you play?
Yeah.
Do you play like board games? Like
No,
thinking of
hell
like
no.
things that you could like
No.
be really why? Are you afraid you're gonna lose?
I think probably I like playing things I'm good at. So like even if it's video games, like I'm playing 2K, like something that's competition, like I love
I
it.
feel like board games are competition.
Yeah, but it's different. Like I can't fully, like I like physical, like
Okay,
playing a
like
sport where
contact
I have,
stuff.
like I have physical, like I could determine what happens in the game, you know what I mean, by my hands and feet and everything.
Got you.
Yeah, it's different.
So okay, so you said Kobe Bryant.
Yeah,
And
and
who else?
Kobe and MJ are my two favorites when it comes to just overall mindset, work ethic. And The Last Dance, like that changed my whole life. Like, and I didn't even talk about that, but like when I say the last 3 years, like I'm going into my 5th year in the league. My first 2 years, like my first year I was still drinking and doing all that. I had some success, but my second year, COVID hit. I was coming out of rehab. Like I like took a step back in a way, and I wasn't the player I was wanting to be. I was battling injuries. And like after that year, I had to get surgery. My shoulder, had to get repaired. My hand was broken the whole year. Like I had to get that fixed. And then I literally went to LA. I was there for 3 days and I was waiting to get surgery. And I watched The Last Dance from start to finish. And I was like, I'm going back and I'm changing everything. Like I'm gonna go to the nutritionist, the strength coach. Like I'm doing it the right way. I don't care. Like I don't want to be a good story. Yeah, he went to Eastern Michigan, had a decent career. Like, no, I want to be the best. Like, why not me? There's those guys like that change history. Those dudes literally give it everything they have, and like, why can't it be me? I don't understand why more people don't think that way. But it's hard as hell. But like, you could ask, I don't just talk about it. Say I do this. Like, if you walk in the building and ask my coaches, the GM, I don't care who it is, the janitor, who's in the building the most, who's the first guy, who's going hardest to practice. Like, I guarantee you they'll say me. And like, I say that with confidence because I do it every single day. And like, that's what I want to do. I want to be the best at what I do.
There has to be truth behind that because you said it with so much conviction. And actually, when you were talking about that you went and studied, all these legends and these people who are aspirational for you, I was just thinking that I'm like, God, these days it's so easy to do that too because they have documentaries.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what they're there for, right? And the other part of that is I feel like we live in this society now where people don't idolize athletes like they used to.
Yeah.
Like, in the 80s, it was like whoever's on like the Wheaties box and like Olympians, and those people were like who people idolized. And so now with this surge of social media, and there's like a lot of people who I wouldn't say that they don't have talent, but certainly not like athletic ability. It's like, I don't want to like dump on anyone. But
It's real, though.
but I do think that like it is the hardest thing to do to be a disciplined athlete.
Yeah.
Because it's a grind, 24/7. You're constantly like putting your body and your mind through so much in order to achieve, a result like competition, like you said.
Yeah.
So
No, I think you're right. Like honestly, I feel like nowadays, especially like the kids see all the TikToks, Instagram, all that stuff, but they think like success is, okay, I can make a video, go viral, get a bunch of money, and I made it. And that's like, kids have that goal now. Like, it's crazy. But for me, like, that's not how I was raised. Like, my dad to this day is still hands and knees working, like, hard as hell. And he'll do that to the day he dies. Like, that's how he is. My mom started working when she was 10 years old and had to earn everything she had. She's an immigrant, like, came over from Yugoslavia. Totally different background, but they are workers. Like my grandpa's 80 something, he's still trying to work. Like they're all like that. But nowadays, like I feel like things are so much more like Instagram and all that. Like people think it's reality, and like most of it isn't. And then like I try to, like you said, like athletes for me, people sometimes athletes get a bad rap. They're like, oh, he's just athletic and God bless him, so that's why he has the success. Like I was like just giving it, but like if you really see all the best athletes, the greatest ones, like they're different than everybody, and you have to be able to take all the heat from the media. You got to work relentlessly all year round to have your body go through hell, basically. And it's like, it's nonstop, and people don't even understand that. But the guys that really put in that work, like you have that mutual respect no matter what sport it is. And like, that's why I like being around, the John Joneses, like at your event, like
You
doing
guys looked
different
like you
things
were
at
like long lost brothers.
Yeah, like
And I
that.
think that's what you're talking about. Like you
Yeah.
had this like y'all both recognize that kind of like fire in each other.
No, for sure. And that's, no matter what it is, business as well. Like, I love being around Dana and just shadowing him and like going on trips with him and seeing how he moves. Cause like, I want to do that in every phase of my life. Like, I don't care what it is. I want to be 50 moving like Dana. You know what I mean? I don't want to be just a retired player not doing nothing.
And not a lot of people have those opportunities. Like I feel like you can be an athlete your whole life and be recognizable, but unless you're not, people aren't seeking that out like you are.
Yeah.
Like you can tell that you want to be influenced, you want to have good mentors. So with your legends, you got them all tattooed on your body. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, it was a process. It was 2 days. They knocked.
How
all
many
of it out.
people? Like we
5
need to get
people.
granular with this. So you had
5 people.
5 people
Yes.
tattooing what, your chest, stomach.
Chest, torso, literally everything.
So, yeah, I'm pretty sure the
Put it on
camera can get that.
but I got blasted.
So no, do it. Like point it out. Like what's where? Let's see.
I got my daughter
Yep.
here. I got MJ, Ali, Kobe. I got roses and diamonds. It's like my favorite thing.
And then be legendary. And then you got the Texas on there.
Yeah, the Texas. That was the day when I was there before. So yeah, I had to stay.
The only person from Texas that doesn't listen to country music, but I digress.
Not at all. Yeah, we had this discussion, but yeah.
And you grew up in Dallas?
No, so I originally am from Michigan. I lived in Michigan until I was 10. Then I moved to Dallas, the Dallas area, DFW, going into middle school. So I went to middle school, high school out there.
And do you feel like because you're also talking about the way that your parents brought you up, what did your parents do for a living when you were growing up?
So my dad, he was in the mortgage business when I was younger. My mom took pictures, and now my dad, he started his own business. He was doing like tile removal and like floors basically and like demolition stuff. And now he's doing like power wash stuff and doing all different type. Like he's a hands-on type of dude, but he's smart as hell.
Right.
But he didn't love that he didn't love the mortgage world. And like at that time, like everything went downhill. Like in 2007, so like we ended up coming to Texas. We lived with my grandparents for a year, and then we ended up staying in Texas and everything. And my mom, she was taking pictures. She was working as a waitress, like even when I was in high school, like they were just working, trying to keep everything afloat, make it like the kids not feel it. And like
Right.
they always found a way. And like, that's why I always appreciate them for doing that.
I feel like that has so much to do too with how kids grow up, because you think that like you don't realize what's going on, but you're able to see that like they're working that hard.
Yeah.
And like you said, like if they had to earn everything, then like you have to earn everything. And so you can tell that translates to football for you for sure.
Definitely.
I heard a little secret.
Oh, should be good. Here we go.
So saying that you grew up in Texas, do you know Post Malone?
Yeah.
How do you know Post Malone?
So I lived in Colleyville. So let's just put it. Colleyville's here, Grapevine's here, split by a highway. There are rivals. Post went to Grapevine, I went to Colleyville. So he's my brother's grade. Post Malone, I didn't know him like personally at that level when I was in high school. Like I didn't, whatever. Like I've met him a couple times, but it wasn't like that. But he made music and he was like a producer at the time, and he was like a rapper back
This
then.
is going exactly where I wanted it to go.
Yeah, so this is a crazy thing. He was making beats, and like me and my best friend Nick, he was just out here too with the fights with me and everything. But me and Nick rapped. Like we made our own music, full blown 20-song mixtapes, and we're selling them at school.
What?
And Post was the rapper at Grapevine, like one of the bigger rappers, but he was making beats and everything. So we like our second mixtape we made, Post made like 4 beats on that mixtape. I swear to God.
Can
like, it's
people
crazy.
dig this up? Like, can they?
No.
So it's, I mean,
No.
that means yes, that they can. But so it's
Yeah, it's
you, it's you rapping on his beats.
Yes, it was me and my brother.
You
my
have
boy Nick.
mixtapes.
Oh yeah, multiple.
Were they, well, I guess, because like, you don't really know it. Like, have you ever seen a cassette tape?
Yes, of course. If I'm not that old, damn.
So you mean,
No, we
yeah,
had CDs. Like we went to the store, bought a bunch of CDs in bulk. put
like
it in the
blank
computer.
CDs.
Yeah, and just did our thing. But that's the thing. Like we fully like love making music. That's how me and Nick became like best friends. And
Do you
crazy.
still make music? Do you still rap?
I still rap, but I don't have a studio. That's something I want to do.
I mean,
but, like,
it's so funny you should say that because we're like in a studio.
I know. I need to.
Can you
like,
pick,
I would.
Can
I
you
would.
pick 3 things in this room and make a rap?
Do you want me to freestyle right now? I'm not
Yeah.
gonna freestyle. I'm gonna keep that back. But I have freestyles out there. You can look on the internet.
Okay.
They're out there. So
All right.
might be a little explicit, but yeah, I love making music, and I still like to this day, like every week I'll send one in the car to my group chat of all my boys, and like I'll just put on a beat and just freestyle, and I love it.
Who's in your group chat? Is it like people that you went to high school with?
No, it's like all my closest friends. Like we went to San Diego for the bachelor party, and it's like that group. Like it's my best friends from Eastern, my best friends from high school, my brother, my cousins, and like, yeah, we're just a big family. But we have quite the conversations again. It's classic.
So you send them stuff that you make currently.
Yeah, just like I'll put on a random beat and just freestyle. My biggest claim to fame out of everything is I won the best musician my senior year in high school. So
That's what you're most proud of?
that's my most proud, prized possession for sure.
I mean, that is cool though, that you're like, you have a creative side and you are into sports. Like that's, I love that you have like multiple hobbies.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm trying to think of like how I can ask this. When you and Post Malone, when y'all were battling back and forth, did you know that like you were the top at your school and he was like the top? I feel like I smell a documentary coming on.
No, it wasn't like we weren't like competing like that. It was like there was like a couple groups of kids. Like when my brother was older, he was like him and his buddies rap. So like when we were younger in high school, I was like a sophomore. Me and my boys were like, that's gonna be us. We looked up to them and like they were the big football players and they rapped and stuff. So we want to take it to the next level. So we did that. And then Post was making music and like we would have little concerts like, and Post would be there and a couple other guys from around the area. We just like, it was fun. And we hated Grapevine though, like when it came to football.
Yeah.
In the schools, like it was real beef. So it was different. But yeah, Post is cool as hell. Like me and Post still talk. Like I got his number. We FaceTime this year during the season. Like, and I hadn't been able to talk to him in years. And like, we had something in Vegas scheduled a couple years ago. We're supposed to do something together, like a cool event. It got canceled. Like we've been trying to link for a while, but we finally got to talk and like, it was so cool because he's like, man, I've been locked in watching you for years now, bro. And I'm like, bro, you have no idea.
What
like,
a
you're
cool
legend,
moment.
bro. So yeah, it's cool. He's a great dude.
And especially that y'all came from the same hometown.
Literally right down the street from me. It's crazy.
How are you liking Las Vegas?
I love it. I've been here 3 years. I literally want to stay here for a long time.
The heat doesn't bother you?
The heat sucks. I'm not gonna lie. Like I need chapstick, gum, all times. But besides that, it's amazing. It's like smaller than people think.
Yeah.
And you can do whatever. Like if you want to be a family man, be low key, like you can do that. If you want to go have fun, you can do that. It's all like right there. So I feel like it's the best of everything.
I feel like Texas, growing up in Texas too, lends itself to that. Like I've been here for 12 years and I've seen this city when there was no sports teams at all.
Yeah.
And it's like, it sucks, like, because that's kind of what you do. Like growing up in Texas, you like go watch football games. So like when we got an NFL team here, I was like very excited, but also the towns are a little smaller. Everyone kind of knows everyone's business. And like Vegas gets like that a little bit, it's like a little big town kind of situation.
Definitely. Yeah. Everybody knows each other for sure.
Totally. After high school, describe what happened. Like you got when you went to college and got your first offer.
Yeah. I got my offer from Eastern right before my senior year. So I hadn't even played defensive end at all. So I got the offer. Yeah, it was crazy. Like I had that big growth spurt and I went to an Eastern camp and I was like, I'm originally from Michigan. They're D1. Like they were horrible at the time, but I was like, I just want a D1 offer. Like that's all that matters. And I went there, I got the offer. 2 weeks later, I committed. I got to play my senior year. I already knew I was going D1. Like that's all that mattered to me. And I went to Eastern and yeah, it was awesome. I love my experience. I just went back a couple weeks ago and got to talk to the guys and they surprised me with the big Ring of Honor thing.
Yeah. So explain that. What is that?
Yeah. So they have a Ring of Honor, obviously like every other school, but like for us, like you gotta either be an All-American or like have to be drafted and have a certain amount of years in the league, something like that. But yeah, so they put me up and it was crazy because I remember like being in practice, like you see the names up there, I'm like, I want to be on that. Like I want to have my name up there and being the, getting able to like walk up there and see it. It's like, it's the coolest thing ever. So yeah, that's definitely like one of my major big goals, like that I wanted to get done. And, you know, I got to check that off the list. So it's cool.
And then when you got drafted into the NFL,
Yeah.
describe that experience.
It was incredible. You know, probably the most stressful weekend of my life. I really didn't know where I was going to go. I was either, you know, it could have been day 2, which is like the second round to the third round, or it could be day 3. And day 3 is like 4 through 7. So picture going faster, and you kind of turns into the Wild West. Like, you don't know what's going to happen.
Like sweating bullets, probably.
Yeah. So literally, so I had my whole family there, friends, everybody.
Oh my God.
Day 1, I knew I wasn't going to get drafted. So I'm like, okay, that'll be chill. Day 1 goes by, just round 1. Next day, day 2, you got second and third round. I'm like, I'm hoping, okay, maybe in the third round towards the end, I might get drafted. I got like news people at the crib. I got everybody, and I didn't get drafted on day 2. And I'm like, I was about to freak out, but I was like, this, I'm leaving. I hopped in the car. I went to Burger King, ordered cheat meal, and I smacked some Burger King. And I'll never forget it. It's me and Rachel, and I'm like, what the fuck? I was so mad, but at the same time, I'm like, I know Oakland's tomorrow. Like, my agent was telling me, Gruden loves you, Mayock, they love you, whatever. And they had 106 and 109, like early day 3 picks. And I still have the tags I can show you, but I told my agent, I'm like, Oakland better pull the trigger at 106. I swear to, like, going off, and I got picked at 106 the next day to Oakland. So yeah, it's crazy, but
Like just relief,
and it worked out. So it was dope.
And then what happened when you guys found out that you were moving to Vegas? Like, what was the team like spirit like? Was everybody like on the same page, like, let's do it? Or were people like, damn, we're gonna be let? Because like Oakland fans are crazy.
Wild.
Like, I've been on flights. I dated a guy that lived in San Francisco, so I'd fly into Oakland, and like we just drive across the bridge or whatever. But like on the way back to Vegas, if it was like game day or whatever, like those fans are out, like the whole, I'm like, I'm just trying to go home, and everyone's just like out of their seats, rowdy. I've never seen anything like it. So what was the overall feel like when you guys found out that you're coming to Vegas?
Yeah, so they already made the announcement before I got drafted.
So you already knew.
So I knew. But I was excited that I got to spend a year in Oakland, because, you know what I mean? Like, now the guys that get drafted, like, they're Las Vegas Raiders. It's a little bit different. But I got to really experience what being an Oakland Raider is. And it was different. Like, the whole city was crazy. Like, it's not like a normal city, you know very well. Like, Oakland is dangerous.
Yeah.
In certain areas, and like, it's different, but I also loved it. Like, the fans were incredible. I got to really be out, like, and do signings and be in the city and like be in different areas, and like, they're so passionate. And I'm, you know, even though there was ups and downs, it wasn't the easiest year. Like, that year was awesome, and I'll always appreciate it, because, you know, it was the last year in Oakland. So, you know, I got a ton of love for Oakland. I want to go back again and go do like a signing or something there. But yeah, it's tough. You know, they're losing baseball now too. It's just like, it's tough.
Meanwhile, in Vegas, we're like just got Stanley Cup, and because I feel like our fans and our teams are like coming back out and like showing, like, people like want the teams here, and we want the success. We want to succeed. So
Yeah.
do you like doing signings and appearances, and when people recognize you, are you like about that, or are you kind of like more standoffish?
I'm not standoffish at all. You know, I feel like I'm not that way because I had to earn it. It's like anything else. Like, I was at Eastern Michigan. I have more like fans at my high school games than like my college home games. Like, in Texas, we have 15,000 packed out every game. Like, Eastern early on, like, there's nobody in the crowd.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just different. So like, I always wanted to play and be in the position I am now. So like, doesn't matter. Even if I walk through a casino, like, a bunch of kids come out, like, I'm gonna sign everything. Like, there might be a moment, like, I'm in an emergency, I gotta get out of there, where I don't sign something, but like, I'm trying to sign and take pictures with everybody, because I appreciate and I'm grateful for where I'm at. Like, I feel like it's lame to just stand off some kids, or like, you know what I mean? It could make their world. Like, they'll talk about that, meeting that one athlete, and tell everybody they know
For sure.
forever. Like, yeah, they either have one impression, like, Maxx Crosby is the coolest man. Like, I want that to be, you know, what people say about me when I'm not in the room. I don't want them to be like, yeah, Max was, you know, he stiff-armed me and just didn't take a picture with me when I was a kid. Like, I'll never want to be that guy. And I like made that ode to myself, like, ever since I got in the league. Like, I'm gonna go out, be in the community, I'm gonna be with the kids, I'm gonna do stuff with you know, it doesn't matter if I show up and talk to people, like do stuff like what we did. Like that's what I want to do, and just tap in and just show that I'm a human. I'm not just an athlete.
Well, speaking of like being human and an athlete, because you have your legends tattooed on you.
Yeah.
And I just saw on Instagram that someone was it your signature tattooed on them?
Yeah.
What is that like for you? Like, did you ever
Crazy.
think when you were younger that one day people were going to be tattooing your name, your signature, your number? Like, I've seen that too. People that have your number, your jersey number tattooed on them.
Yeah.
What does that feel like?
It's honestly, it's crazy. You know, I've seen, like I saw one last year, somebody put like their whole leg, like a mural of me in my jersey and everything. Yeah, it's honestly nuts. And just seeing that just shows like I know I'm doing something right. Like, because at the end of the day, like everything matters. It's not just what I do on the field. It's like what I do for the people. Like we just talked about, like they wouldn't just get anybody tatted on them or a signature tatted on them if I was like not a good person. But like I try to do the best I can do in everything I do. Like I want to be the best version of myself. And I feel like, you know, fans feel that. And like, when it comes to jersey sales and things like that, like there's a reason why I sell a lot of jerseys and stuff like that, because I'm not just a player. Like I fully like am myself. I try to be myself at all times and try to, you know, just show love and give back. And that I feel like goes a long way.
Do you ever think there's going to be an age or like a benchmark or something that you hit where you're like, I did it and I'm at my full potential? Or do you not think that way? You just try to get better than the previous season?
Yeah, for me, it's literally a daily process. Like I just focus on Monday. I worry about tomorrow when it gets there. But like you can see on my phone, like I have a checklist every single day. I have a bunch of things I got to get done.
Yeah, let's talk about your routine. Like what does your morning look like? Like let's go through the whole day. Like what do you do that's like super disciplined?
Yeah, so I'm up at 5:30. I'm in the building by 6. I eat breakfast. I'm starting my workout at 6:30. I'm on the field warming up. Do my full, you know, on the field stuff. It's probably an hour. And then I go in, do my full lift, do all that. And after that, I got my recovery. I do massages, cold hot tubs, all that. So like, I love starting early because I have so much time. I can get so much more done. And like, I could be there for 5 hours and I'll be done by 11 o'clock. You know what I mean? Like,
totally.
So
you get all the hard stuff out of the way at the beginning of the day and you just feel like you can do anything the rest of the day, you know, like
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And it just leaves, like if I get home and it's 11:30, 12 o'clock, now I have the whole rest of my day. So I use that to recover. I use that for meetings or stuff like this. Like I have so much time. And like at the same time, I don't just go home and just sit down and do nothing. Like I'm productive and I can, you know, I sit down and figure out ways. Okay, I'm gonna have a business meeting with Michael Rubin. I'm gonna schedule that. Like I got one on Wednesday. So that's a big deal for me. So I'm gonna make sure I'm done and getting everything out the way so I can just schedule it out. And I have, you know, my routine, which I do, and that's food as well. Like staying tapped in, doing everything at a certain time because like I'm on the clock at all times. Like I'm gonna do this at 12:45. I'm gonna do this at 2. Like my food, I eat a breakfast at 6, snack at 11, lunch at 2, snack at 4, dinner at 6:30 every day. Same thing, perfect protein. Perfect
consistency is key. And so do you have someone cooking your meals for you?
Yes, I pay for meal prep through the team. So they do a great job. They work with me as far as, you know, what I need and how much protein, how many calories and all that.
How much protein do you consume? Isn't it supposed to be a gram for how much you weigh? So do you have
something like, yeah, I don't know. They have, like, I have a nutritionist. He does all that and lays it out. He knows the science behind everything, but I just know exactly what I need to eat.
What's like let's walk through some meals.
Yeah.
Like what are you eating today?
I haven't even looked. It's literally in my car. Right
okay,
now,
what did you eat yesterday?
Yesterday, it's the same thing. It's like either chicken, rice, vegetables. My snacks are like my early morning snacks are like something with a little bit more sugar. Like protein wise, it'll be like granola, chocolate, little bars or something like that. And then, you know, I'm always hydrating like crazy throughout the day. But on top of it, it's like, yeah, it's like turkey bison, meatloaf, all different type of, you know, high protein, low fat type deals. And then, you know, rice and veggies and things like that. So it's pretty simple, but they, you know, it can get repetitive. So like I communicate with them like, listen, I need to change this up or we need to add a different snack. But like my PM snacks, like at 4, like it looks like a full blown meal and that's supposed to be a snack, but I'm just like trying to throw it down. And then, I just got to make it work. But
I feel like you guys have to eat a lot. You probably burn so many calories, out there practicing. And so that's what you guys are doing right now. You're still practicing before season starts. Is the training regimen the same now as it is during the season?
No, right now. So we finished OTAs a few weeks back. So right now we're technically off until July 25th. So for me, like, I go with my strength staff. Like, I do this all through the Raiders. I got my strength staff, my nutritionist, my cooks, all that. Like, we have a full plan at the beginning of the off season. So I start January 30th and we go all the way to July 25th. And like, it's already planned out of exactly what I'm going to do.
So you're like off, like you're not playing games, but like you're still chilling. Do people do that?
Some people do. Some people are different. Like, we don't even start OTAs until like mid-April. So like, season ends in January and you have like 3 months off.
It's basically like how seriously you take yourself.
Yeah, it's like, what do you want to get out of it? You get what you put into it. So for me, like, season end January 15th or no, it's January 11th. I start training January 30th, and I've been going for over 6 months now. I've been nonstop.
But that's what makes you the best.
100%.
So let's talk about contracts. When you got drafted, you got your contract.
Yeah.
I'm sure you know that this is like a thing that people talk about, that like sometimes like there's these athletes and you guys are young and you don't know how to like manage money all the way.
Yeah, for sure.
So describe like, how do you keep yourself like in check? Is there somebody that manages that stuff for you? Kind of like with, diet where you've got a cheat day. Is there like stuff where you're like, this is going to be some stupid shit to buy, but like, you're going to do it?
No, that's a good point. I feel like, the best advice I've gotten has just been, from obviously Shaq is like probably the biggest dude I look up to, literally and figuratively, but like just watching, his interviews and stuff, that guy, like, he talks about it all the time. And he's like, everybody in his circle is smarter than him. And like, that's what I tell the young guys, like, you got to keep your circle, like, people that are motivated and disciplined and have big aspirations and are successful. Those are the people you want around you, either an asset or a liability. And like, for me, as far as, finances and lifestyle and everything like that, like, there's either going to be people pulling in your direction. And like, for me, I'm going one way. I have one vision. I know exactly what I want and where I'm going. And like, if you don't fit into that and you don't understand what I'm doing, like, and I'm obsessive, like, I put everything into it. It's hard for a lot of people to fit into that. So like, I got family, I got friends, I got a bunch of people that want to be a part of what I have, but they don't fit into what I'm doing because they don't see what I do on a daily basis. They can't understand how I got to where I'm at unless you really try to do what I'm doing. So like, all the people around me, when it comes to finances, like, I have a financial advisor. I have a guy who's, specializes in like private equity and like getting ownership in businesses and things like that. And that's something I'm really focused on right now, doing a lot of things behind the scenes. But just for me, my biggest advice is like, always know like your circle is what you're going to be. And so like, this whole off season, like, I've had to really cut people off and I've had to make hard decisions when it comes to the people around me, but it's been incredible. And like I said, like, being around Dana and like being good, me and Michael Rubin have been, getting a lot closer. Like, a lot of people like that, those are the people I want to be around, because I want to be like those guys. Like, I want to be doing that when I'm 50, you know what I mean? Not just sit at home, like, scared to blow, mess my money up, just NFL money. Like, I want to have money off the field and on the field.
And I see that so much, especially like being a publicist and having a book, retired athletes in, like, they blow through their money.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And so you
got to be smart.
It's cool that you recognize that so early on in your career. And then also, like you said, it's so much more to it than just, how much money you have. It's like the people you surround yourself with, and boundaries has been, it's a hard thing for anyone to learn, especially for family. You kind of grow up like, that blood's thicker than water and that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, if it doesn't fit into where you're going, that just can't be the case. And it's good that you're speaking on that, because I feel like a lot of people feel like with family or, people they've known for their whole lives, that they're tied to people. When like sometimes boundaries will just save you more than anything,
That's honestly, it's like the most revealing thing. Like you said, like, even with family or your close day one friends, like, at the end of the day, when money comes in the conversation, like, nobody's ever been around the type of money like that I've been able to make, and I haven't either. So it's not like I went to school for business and I know everything I'm doing. That's why I talk about having people around me that know what they're doing. But at the same time, there's the people that were with you before you had it, and their whole relationship and way they act around you is different, and like they don't understand like what it takes, and like they don't understand that money doesn't just last forever and it's unlimited money, and all right, I owe you this because you're my boy. Like, no, like I earned it myself. You were not there with me at 5 a.m. You're not there right now when I'm up at 5 a.m. Like, for me, I've earned everything I've gotten, and so I take it really serious. And like, that's another thing like I didn't say, but like, you gotta have a budget. You gotta have people you trust. You gotta know as far as stocks and bonds and certain businesses you're getting in on. Like, you gotta have super educated people around you, because there's a lot of people that will point you in the wrong direction and just want a piece of what you got, but you get screwed in the end. You've seen so many players go through, horror stories, and it's like, for me, it's a lot of pressure. Like, I'm 25 years old. I got millions of dollars, and like, I want to do it the right way. I want to live, I want to have longevity. I want to do all the things that I dream of, and like, I'm trying to do more and just educate myself. And that's something I'm a college dropout at the end of the day. I still haven't finished school, and like, I'm just learning, like, and I don't think that matters, finishing college, I'm not going to put that out there to everybody, but like, for me, like, I didn't feel like that really helped me. For me, it's like real life experiences, getting around dudes that really know business and really have relationships and learning from them. That's how I've learned everything I know. And it's huge.
Yeah,
sure.
100%. There's when I have to interview people when we're hiring, like, I don't ever look to see if someone has a college degree.
Yeah.
I care about like when they show up, how they are interacting with me and my team. Yeah. So like having that positive attitude and being a self-starter. Like, I've never once called, someone, if they do have their degree, I've never called the college and asked for their transcripts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, that's real though.
Because like, it matters to me if you like want to figure it out, and if you have street smarts, and like just everything that you just said, I totally agree with.
Yeah.
So with that, and it sounds like you've got, everything like laid out and organized as far as your finances go, but like, let's give the people what they want to hear.
Let's do it.
What is one stupid thing that you bought where you like knew it? Like, you were like, this is really stupid, but like, I'm buying this.
Yeah. So now I'll give you the nowadays update, and then it'll make sense. But like, I'm really into watches. That's something like big as far as investments. Like, as far as assets, it's a good thing to have, especially if you know the watch market, and like, they hold value. You know what I mean? You got to have paperwork, you got to have boxes, you got to have everything assured, like, that it's, on point and authentic and whatever. But when I first got in the league, like, I was like, I don't care what it is. The second I get that check, I'm getting a bust down Rolex with a blue face. I don't care, all flooded with diamonds, which is stupid because it's literally ruining the watch and putting diamonds in it. But I got a crazy, like, it wasn't that crazy looking back, but like, it was just flooded diamond watch, and I got like a pinky ring with it, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. And I just basically burned that money buying that. But I told myself, like, I don't care what happens. I bought that before I bought a house or a car or anything. I was
Love
like,
that.
This crazy diamond Rolex. And I don't even have it. I traded it in years ago.
No, I was just about to ask that if you kept it.
Long gone. I have no idea where it's at, but yeah, I traded it in, and I got all plain. If that's another thing, as far as investments, like, get plain watches. They hold value. It's like the stock market. The last 5 years, I believe, 5 to 10 years, don't quote me on it, but it's either 5 to 10. It's done better than real estate, the Rolex business. So like, as far as going up and hold value, like, it's done really well. So.
My dad is a numismatist, which not a lot of people know what that is, but he buys, sells, and trades and grades rare coins.
Okay.
But it's like, it's also jewelry and watches in that like industry. A really like funny story that I have is one time he had a Rolex that he just, didn't want anymore. I don't know if he like sold it, traded it, whatever. And he said, I was in high school, and he said, next time your boyfriend, I was dating this guy for like 3 years. He's like, next time he does something nice for you, give him this. And at the point, it was like probably a $3,500 watch or something.
Yeah.
Because that's how he gets everything like wholesale, that's the point. And he didn't do anything nice for me. And it had been like a few months. My dad was like, did you like give him that watch? And I'm like, no, he like didn't do anything nice. And so that's why I broke up with him. And then my dad let me keep the watch and trade it myself.
That's dope.
So I took the money and I went to San Francisco.
Yeah.
And I bought like a ton of like, just went shopping, and it was ridiculous. But anyway, that's true. Like, watches do hold value. I can definitely verify that.
Yeah, for sure.
Are there any charities that you work with? I see you doing a lot of stuff with kids.
Yes, I do a lot of stuff with kids. But also I'm big into pit bull rescue. I got 3 pit bulls myself. I love them, the best dogs. So yeah, I'm big in that community. I work with Stand Up for Pits Foundation. I do a lot of things with them, charitable work, giving back, whether it's paying for surgeries, things like that, helping dogs get into foster care, like different things like that. But I'm starting my own foundation. It's going to be the Maxx Crosby Foundation. We're going to tap into all different type of stuff, from animal rescue to addiction awareness, all different types of stuff. We're covering all type of grounds, but it's coming out soon, and we're trying to get it rolling before camp starts. So yeah, I'm fired up about it.
And like any fundraisers on the horizon, or is that like part of the plan for that?
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff. Like we just, we've been having a lot of meetings, and we're getting everything in line. And like I've shared a lot of my ideas and what I want to do, and even back home in Michigan or in Texas, like I got a lot of things I want to do and hope give back. So that's something that's really important to me, is giving back, because I feel like at the end of the day, like it all comes back twofold. And I feel like doing things right, like even if it's the smallest thing, from like going to a restaurant and having a waitress, like I don't care what restaurant, I don't care if I pay $10 for a meal, like I'm tipping $500 every time.
Do you really?
Every time. I swear to God. But it's like I have the ability to do it, but I love it, because the reaction is like, I love the reaction every single time. And like I don't know what that waitress is going through. Like I just went back to Eastern, and this waitress, she was I think 40s or 50s, and I paid her like a $10 meal, and I tipped her $500. And like she reached out to me on Instagram, was like, "You literally made my world." And like little things like that is what it's all about. And like it could be a waitress who's 18 years old. Like that $500 is like, that's
gold.
You hit the,
it's like a watch.
Yeah, it's literally the same thing. So like I really try to, no matter what it is, I always try to tip at at restaurants at least $500. Sometimes even more. But yeah, that's something I love doing.
I was just about to say, like, you're such a good dude, but like I also don't want it to seem like just because you're giving people $500 that's what makes you a good dude. Like this whole conversation is like, I mean, you're just dialed in. Like I knew it from the moment that I met you that you were, but just everything that you've said in this conversation, like you're smart with your money. You're like you said, it's like anything that you're gonna do, you're gonna give it 100%, and I can tell. And I think, I mean, everyone's excited to see you on the field this season for sure. Like that's gonna be great, especially after this conversation.
Yeah, I'm fired up. We got 2 weeks till camp, so yeah, I'm fired up. I appreciate you having me on. Everything was incredible.
Yeah.
And yeah, for me, I just want to give back and do right and be the best version of myself. That's all I try to do on a daily basis.
Well, I'm so glad that you took the time to come in here. Tell everybody where they can find you.
Instagram, Twitter. Twitter's at Crosby Max. Instagram at Maxx Crosby, 2 X's.
Are you active on Twitter? I haven't looked.
Yeah, I'm active on Twitter.
Are you?
Yeah, a little bit.
Can we do a giveaway with one of your jerseys?
Absolutely.
Let's do it. Okay. Absolutely. So in order to enter, please make sure that you're following Maxx Crosby on Instagram and Neon Confidential on Instagram. Comment when we post this your favorite part of today's episode, and that will be how you can be entered to win a Maxx Crosby signed jersey. Thank you so much for coming in. This is such a good conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.